All right, I'm going to say shalom to everyone. Thank the Most High for the Sabbath that just went past. I'm going to get into a it could be touchy, controversial type topic in regards to the land of Osareth that is written of in the Apocrypha when you go to Second Esdras, chapter 13, verses 36 through 47. I'm going to go through that information to prove, not to try to prove someone wrong, but just based on literature that they actually, just left for us to really read. A lot of us don't really go into certain, literature in regards to, information like this. But I'm going to try my best in a few minutes here to prove that Osareth in Scripture is actually linked to America. And that is one of the records, Second Esdras chapter 13, verses 36 through 47, that Christopher Columbus himself actually used to find who we call today the North American Indian. Okay, it's not just a North American Indian that was in this particular land, but predominantly they are the ones that were scattered throughout the Americas, South America, and you have parts of North America as well. But of course, there were other Hebrew people. Certain parts of Naphtali is there, Reuben, Simeon, some parts of Zebulun. You'll find Zebulunites there, all throughout South America and even North America today. All right, but I will do a full lesson on that totally. But what I want to show today in this particular video is the actual confirmation, even for myself when I got into this, so we can understand exactly what Second Esdras is saying. Okay, so let's go to the Apocrypha real quick. Give me a minute here. Thought I had all my ducks set in place. Give me a minute. Let's go to Second Esdras chapter 13 and whole Second Esdras chapter 13. I'm gonna go to First Thessalonians. I'm gonna go to First Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 21. The reason why I want to go here is because we have a lot of there's a lot of information in regards to history and historical digs. Anthropologists have digged this up and dig that up. You got the we our records are found when it comes to the book of Jasher. So we use these historical reference, as you would say, the Bible today, which was the Torah and the Tanakh. We actually use these records today based on confirming certain historical events that happened in the past. And I want to say that is because this can exclude or eliminate a lot of conjecture when it comes down to what is history and what is not, and what's true and what is not. All right, so let's go to First Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 21. All right, and it says, prove all things, hold fast that which is good. So the Most High is telling us to prove all things. If you can't prove it, then it'll lead you down a path of philosophy or conjecture. Okay, so now let me just prove, based on this scripture, based on literature, on the word Asareth, how it links to America, right? So that's the lesson. All right, so let's go to Second Esdras chapter 13. Give me a minute. Second Esdras chapter 13. I'm gonna start at the 37th verse, and it says, give me a minute. And it says, and this my son shall rebuke the wicked inventions of those nations, which for their wicked life are fallen into the tempest, and shall lay before them their evil thoughts and the torment, wherewith they shall begin to be tormented, which are like unto a flame, and he shall destroy them without a labor by the law which is like unto me. And whereas thou sawest that he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him, and we're going to find out who this peaceable multitude is. And it says, those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoner out of their own land in the time of Osiah the king, whom Samosiar, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves. So what happened is we dealt with Syrian captivity, so we were trying to get away from the Syrians. So this is what our people have done in ancient times. Verse 41. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. Now I want to stop there because I want to show something in 2 Kings chapter 17 that just came to mind. All right, let's go to 2 Kings chapter 17. And I'm going to start at the 15th verse. Matter of fact, I'm going to start at the 11th verse. 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 11. And it says, and there they burnt incense in all the high places, as did the heathen, whom the Lord carried away before them, and wrought wicked things to provoke the Lord to anger. For they serve idols, whereof the Lord had said unto them, ye shall not do this thing. Yet the Lord testified against Israel and against Judah by all the prophets and by all the seers, saying, turn ye from your evil ways, and keep my commandments and my statutes, according to all the law which I command your fathers, and which I sent to you by my servants the prophets. Notwithstanding, they would not hear, but hardened their necks like to the neck of their fathers, that did not believe in the Lord their God. So we understand that this is a generational situation where our people just did not want to follow the statutes and commandments, and we start following after different gods of the other nations. Verse 15, it says, and they rejected his statutes and his covenant that he made with their fathers, and his testimonies which he testified against them, and they followed vanity and became vain, and went after the heathen that were around about them, concerning whom the Lord had charged them that they should not do like them. And they left all the commandments of the Lord their God, and made them molten images, even 2 calves, and made a grove, and worshipped all the host of the heaven, and served Baal. And they caused their sons and their daughters to be passed through the fire, and used divination and enchantments, and sold themselves. And it's very deep when it says sold themselves to do evil in the sight of the Lord. You notice where it says sold themselves to do evil? Well, people get into these different groups, these occults like the Illuminati and or whatever, dealing with Hollywood, selling their souls to the devil, getting family members killed so you can prosper in that in money and fame. That's very prevalent when it comes down to the children of Israel. You don't hear about too many other nations in Hollywood killing their kids. So it's very deep that it says that, so we can understand what people the Bible is referring to. This is how you understand who the children of Israel are. All right. So I'm going to go back to verse 16. And they left all the commandments of the Lord their God, and made them molten images, even 2 calves, and made a grove, worshipped all the hosts of heaven, and served Baal. And they caused their sons and their daughters to be passed through the fire, and used divination and enchantments, and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of the Lord, to provoke him to anger. Therefore the Lord was very angry with Israel, and removed them out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Judah. So this links to even the North American Indian. And I know some people balk on which tribe is what, and I can understand that. But based on this particular information that we're reading in Second Esdras, which is linked to Ezra in Scripture that was taken out. These are 14 books of the Bible, which is called the Apocrypha. it was taken out based on this information. You wouldn't find this information out and understand that the 10 tribes, which I'm going to read in a few minutes, were actually links in to the minority groups that spread it throughout the four corners today, as we call them, minority groups. All right. So when it says site, there was none left but the tribe of Judah only. So we, the so-called Negroes in America, and spread it out through Brazil and other parts, we were left in that land. Verse 19, it says, also Judah kept not the commandments of the Lord their God, but walked in the statutes of Israel, which they made. And the Lord rejected all the seed of Israel. And I want to go back when it says the site in verse 18. Site, there was none left but the tribe of Judah. The site is the land. All right. And let me just go back to verse 20. And the Lord rejected all the seed of Israel and afflicted them and delivered them into the hands of spoilers until he had cast them out of his sight. It's talking about the land. Verse 21. For he rent Israel from the house of David, and they made Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, king, and Jeroboam drave Israel from following the Lord and made them sin a great sin. For the children of Israel walked in all the sins of Jeroboam, which he did. They departed not from them until the Lord removed Israel out of his sight, as he had said by all his servants, the prophets. So was Israel carried away out of their own land to Assyria. That's why I wanted to go here, to show you that this second Esdras here, second Esdras chapter 13, verses 37 through 40, 36 through 47 links to Second Kings chapter 17, and starting about around the 15th verse all the way to what I'm reading. So when it says in verse 23, until the Lord removed Israel out of his sight, as he had said by all his servants, the prophets, so was Israel carried away out of their own land to Assyria unto this day. All right. So we were carried away Syria. So now with the book of, because you got to understand that the Apocrypha was in the middle of the Old Testament. Well, excuse me, in the middle of the Bible, which means it separated you had the Old Testament, the Apocrypha, then you got the New Testament. So they took that out on purpose so you can't really figure out certain things. All right. And I'm going to show you that word that I'm about to read here in the Apocrypha. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to 2nd Esdras chapter 13, and I'm going to read give me a minute here. I'm going to start at the 38th verse. The 38th verse, and it says, and shall lay before them their evil thoughts and the torments wherewith they shall begin to be tormented, which are like unto a flame, and he shall destroy them without labor by the law which is like unto me. And whereas thou sawest that he gathered another peaceable multitude, those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoner out of their own land in the time of Osiah the king, whom Samosiar the king of Syria led away captive. And he carried them over the waters, and so came they unto another land. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen. So this is what our people did. We got up out of there and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. All right, that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. So you know this links to 2 Kings chapter 17, because the Most High was always trying to help the children of Israel. All right. Verse 43, and they entered into Euphrates by the narrow place of the river. So what happened is you got Euphrates River close to the area of, it's like on a cusp, you would say, of the top of Africa, in that area, in that area where Israel is, Euphrates. So this is how they did it, that they might keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow places of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half. The same region is called Asareth, and I'm going to show you that word in a minute. Then dwelt they there unto the latter time. This is talking about times today, latter days, latter times. And now, when they shall begin to come, the highest shall stay the spring of the stream again, that they may go through. Therefore sowest thou the multitude with peace. So let's look up this word here so we can kind of confirm. These are not going to be my words. The First Thessalonians 5 verse 21 says, prove all things, right? So there's literature, there's information out there, so you can just look that word up. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, and I wish I could use this camera to bring this around so you all can see it, but I'll put the link on this video once I finish it so you all can get this information. So go to, if you look up, might not come out, yeah, it's pretty clear. The first where my finger is here, Asareth, is different spellings, is different linguistics. You can, some translations of the Apocrypha has it set up where it's spelled this way at the bottom where my finger is. But we're going to deal with the way they had it set up in the Jewish Encyclopedia. Okay, if you go to the Jewish Encyclopedia, you're going to see Asareth with the Z. They're different disciplines of the old Quakers English. All right. So now all you do is you go to www.jewishencyclopedia.com. You put in the word Asareth, or you can just click the word or the letter A, and it'll give you all the, words in between A through Z or whatever, and it'll say Asareth, Arzareth, and it says, these are not my words. You can look this up. I'm gonna put the link on this video so you all can read it yourself. And it says, the name of the land beyond the great river, far away from the habitation of man, in which the 10 tribes of Israel will dwell, observing the laws of Moses until the time of restoration, according to there got some okay, it says, according to Columbus identified America with this land. Okay, it's not my words. Christopher Columbus identified America with this land. There is actually information that confirms this. This is in a Jewish encyclopedia. Okay, then it says the name, it has been suggested to Siller Zenesi, is taken from Deuteronomy. I think that's 29 because it's in Roman numerals. I'm a little off. I think X is 29, Deuteronomy chapter 29 verses 24 through 27. And it says, let me read it. I'll show you. There are other scriptures that you can go to find that it confirms that that's what he knew, that that particular land mass is America when it's talking about the word Asareth. Okay. All right, let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 29, verses 24 through 27. And it says, even all nations shall say, wherefore hath the Lord done thus unto this land? What meaneth the heat of this great anger? Then men shall say, because they have forsaken the covenant of the Lord God of their fathers, which he made with them when he brought them forth out of the land of Egypt. For they went and served other gods and worshipped them, gods whom they knew not and whom he had not given unto them. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against this land, to bring upon it all the curses that were written in this book. And the Lord rooted them out of their land. So the Most High rooted us out of the land of Israel in anger and in wrath and in great indignation, and cast them into another land, as at this day. This is talking about latter days. A lot of times when you see as at this day, the scriptures are living. That's why even certain translations of the Bible, they use living living scriptures, because it is, but they messed up certain words. Then it says, verse 29 is deep. It says, the secret things belong unto the Lord our God. So it's secrets, right? But those things which are revealed belong unto us and to our children forever. So certain things the Most High is going to give us based on it being a secret to other people. Okay, where basically what you're reading, you won't be able to understand unless the Most High give you the understanding. Okay, that's why it says secret things belong unto the Lord our God, but those things which are revealed belong unto us and to our children forever, forever, that we may do all the words of the law. Okay, do all the words of the law. That's talking about the Ten Commandments. Now I'm going to say Ten Commandments because the Ten Commandments was written twice. The Ten Commandments was written, okay, when you read Exodus. When you read Exodus, it was written. We start breaking the Ten Commandments. Now you go into Exodus, you base the law, or what you would say subtitles, on how you will be tried like in a court based on the 10. So what happened was Moses rented his garment, wrote the Ten Commandments again in Deuteronomy. So now you're reading the Deuteronomical law. So that's the way the Bible is set up. Some people think it's a different between the Ten Commandments and the laws. No, if you keep the 10, you're following the law. All right, so I just wanted to put that in there real quick. Now, there's some more information to show that based on what we're reading, the actual Asareth Encyclopedia definition is vast, but I just wanted to show the first excerpt on how it shows that Christopher Columbus identified America with this land. And then it shows you a precept. They just putting it out there. They don't care. All right. And then I see a lot of our brothers and sisters on this encyclopedia.com actually showing you how this is true. There are 31 comments. Our people are waking up. Okay. Now, is Osareth, because this is the way you would try to, you're really pronouncing it in certain, like I said, certain apocryphas have it spelled this way. Let's look up ARSA, right? Watch this. Remember, these are the 10 tribes. Let me read that part again so it can be fresh in your head. Okay? Give me a minute here. Verse 40, 2nd Ezra chapter 13, verse 40. It says, those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Osiah the king, whom Samalsiar, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country, whither never mankind dwelt, that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. All right. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow place of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over. Verse 45, for through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Osareth. All right. And it's spelled Asareth in this particular translation. You take ARSA, and it says the 10 tribes. Based on that movement is representing the 10 tribes. And I'm going to show you. That actual name, ARSA, is signifying the 10 tribes. Like the word Jacob means supplanter. So the Most High always give out names based on a definition or an action. All right, I'm gonna show you. If you go to Hebrew number, do I have it written here? Yeah, Hebrew number 6236. Hebrew number 6236 is Osar, masculine, which means it's masculine spirit or whatever, based on the name. And then it says corresponding to 6235, 10. Osar, 10. It means 10. Can't be refuted. Okay? Let's go to 6235. And it's Osara. Osara. It's almost spelled the same way, people. Osara. So it's in the Hebrew, and it means 10. So basically what I wanted to show is, based on that, because it was pretty hard for me and I was doing some research on it, why can I find the word Asareth, but it's not the whole word. See that the Hebrew, the actual Apocrypha is another dialect of English, not really corresponding much with the Hebrew. So you have to actually break down the word on another level. You can't just look at the whole word if it ain't in it. You have to look at certain, like the etymology of the word, and you'll find out that it links to 10. So that's what the Most High knew, that he named that land. He actually named North America and South America Osareth, knowing that he was going to have the 10 tribes go there. That's the reason why Christopher Columbus knew this information. Okay, he actually knew that. So there you have it. I hope that makes sense. If you all have any comments, I'll try to get to some of the comments. But if not, it should be very clear. You can do your own research. There's information out there to try to debunk this, but they're not really going into all the information. All right, now, and when you look at the map, it don't really show you exactly what Osareth is. Some people believe that it's in the Middle East, but it's actually, the people are the 10. Osara is the 10 tribes from the Middle East. And they did that on purpose. They're not going to tell you that these 10 tribes from the Middle East is actually the people that fled or went into the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, and from the Euphrates River into the Atlantic Ocean for about a year and a half, and they got over here to what we call America today. All right, so there you have it. I'll be making more videos, not as many, but this is my life, and I'll be doing this for the rest of it. Shalom.